I want to name something now that I think is underneath all of the statistics and all of the economic arguments and all of the cultural analysis. Something that I believe is the deepest explanation for anxiety, the emptiness, the restlessness, and defines so much of what I see in people my age and younger. When you cannot live the life you're built for, something in you knows it. Not as an articulate thought, not as a statement you would make to a therapist, as a low level persistent signal that something is missing. That the way your days are structured does not match the way your life was supposed to feel. That the achievements you were told to pursue have not produced the thing you were promised they would produce. I think about a man I worked with in the trades, 41 years old, excellent at his work, earns a decent wage. He's in an apartment he rents alone in a city that costs too much. He has had relationships, but none that he could figure out how to make permanent, given his housing situation, given his debt load, given the fact that asking a woman to build life in a bedroom rental with no clear path to anything else felt like asking her to sign on to something that he could not honestly promise would improve. He does not describe himself as depressed. He describes himself as fine. And when I spend time with him, I believe him. He's functional. He's capable. He's generally fine, and in all the ways system measures fine. But there is something in him. I have seen it come out in right conversation, usually late at night, usually after he has had a couple of drinks, and the performance of fine has relaxed a little. That is grieving. Grieving the wife he does not have, the kids he did not have, the house he did not build, the life that was supposed to follow from work he has been putting in for 20 years. That grief has no official category. It does not show up in the diagnostic scale. It is not diagnosable condition. It is just the specific experience of a human being living in a world that has made the life he is built for economically inaccessible. And I want to say something about that the mainstream conversation around the mental health almost never says. And a significant portion of what we are calling anxiety, what we are calling depression, what we are calling the mental health crisis of this generation, it's a rational response to an irrational situation. You are not broken because you feel this way. You are human. Here I come home from a long day, not a bad day, just long. And she was sitting at a kitchen table drawing something. She looked up when he walked in and held up the picture. It was not identifiable as anything. It's just colors and lines the way 3-year-old draws. But the look on her face when she held up was the look of someone who had made something and wanted the person they loved the most to see it. He sat down next to her. He told me later, and in one of those honest conversations you only have with someone you actually trust, that he started crying on the drive home from visiting me that same week. Not because he was sad, because he realized in that moment exactly what he was working towards and exactly what the financial pressure was putting at risk. Not his retirement account, not his career. That moment, the ability to be present and unhurried and fully there for a child who loves you without reservation, in a home you can afford, with enough margin in your life that you are actually there, and not just physically present while mentally calculating. He looked at me and said, I'm not working to afford a house. I'm working to afford that moment. And the system keeps making it more expensive. That is, the system is not attacking your financial well-being. It is attacking your ability to be fully present in the life you are meant to live. And that is a moral emergency. I want to speak directly to men for a moment, because there is a specific version of this drift happening to men right now that is not being talked about honestly in most places. A traditional framework of masculine purpose in every culture that has ever existed was built around provisions of protection. We are men. You build something. You protect people who depend on you. You have a stake in the world that allows you. The framework is not a social construct invented to oppress people. It is what human males have organized their purpose around for as long as there has been human males. And when the economic conditions make it genuinely difficult to fulfill that purpose, when man cannot provide a stability he believes he owes the people he loves, it does not just frustrate him, it hollows him out. I felt this during the death years. Not the stress of death itself, the shame underneath the stress, the specific feeling that I was not becoming what I was supposed to become. That the person who showed up at that kitchen at 2 a.m. was a diminishing version of the man she deserved to have there. You can work 20 hours a day and still feel like you are falling or what you are working towards keeps receding. The feeling that you are failing as a provider, as a builder, as a person who stakes in the world, that is not a personality problem. This is what happens when the system blocks the path to what you are built to do. The cultural response to that feeling has been inadequate, telling men the masculine purpose is a toxic construct that does not help a man who is generally trying to build something for the people he loves. It adds ideological confusion on top of economic pressure. The honest response is to name what the system is doing and build the most complete version of your purpose inside the constraints you actually have. Presence when you're at home. Full investment in your relationship and your children, even when the financial noise is the loudest. Understanding that provision is not only financial, it is showing up as a person your family needs you to be.